What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and happy Tuesday, people. Lots to talk about today. Sorry for the couple minutes delay there. Just as I was about to go live, Arsenal have announced David Raya has joined the club. It's official. It wasn't in the title of the video or anything. I've wrote it about 4 days in a row and they haven't announced anything. And just when I'm about to go live at 2 o'clock, they make it official, so no better place to start than there. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and all of that good stuff, people. Obviously, we got lots to talk about today. Jurrien Timber's injury, how long is he going to be out for? Potential replacements being lined up today. We're being linked with 2 defenders today. What does it mean for Kieran Tierney? Do we have to cancel any plans of letting him go? Potentially, you know, I think we may have to keep him now. And obviously, we're being linked with 1 or 2 other players as well. So like the video, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, people. Let's start. David Raya, it was announced at 2 o'clock, just as I was about to go live. Arsenal put it on their website. David Raya joins on a season-long loan. I was just watching the announcement video. I can't play it in case they try and copyright me. We can't take the chance. But we'll quickly read what the club have said about it. Obviously, we've got him in on loan for the season. We've paid £3 million to loan him for 1 season. And we can buy him for 27 million at the end of the season if he does well. And listen, this is a very good bit of business for Arsenal. David Raya joins on a season-long loan. Let's just read a little bit about what they've got to say, get a bit of info on him. Spanish international. I wasn't actually aware that he'd played for the national team. Has joined on a season-long loan. 27-year-old, has been an integral part of the Bees team, Bees being Brentford. He played all 38 of their games in the league last season. He was born in Barcelona. He came to England at 16 years of age when he joined Blackburn. A short-term loan in the National League and 108 appearances with Blackburn. He left. He's made 160 appearances for Brentford, including promotion. He won the Golden Glove in the Championship. Narrowly missed out on Premier League promotion that season. So they got in the playoffs and then lost and then went up the year after. Last year came with great success on the international stage. He was called up to represent Spain in 2022, March, making his debut in a 2-1 win against Albania. He also went to the World Cup. See, I didn't even know this. He was in the Spanish squad for the World Cup. Sporting director Edu has said, "We welcome David to us on a season-long loan from Brentford. He's a top-quality goalkeeper who has consistently performed to a high level with Brentford in the Premier League. With David joining us, we are adding quality and depth to our squad so we can perform at the highest possible level in all competitions. As part of the agreement, there is an option to make the move permanent. David will wear the number 22 shirt and everyone at Arsenal welcomes in. The loan is subject to, yeah, blah, blah, blah." Few pictures of him there. There he is with Arteta and Edu. There's a lot of good hair going on in that picture. I can't lie. Some good hair in there. Very interesting. Is he going to be a backup goalkeeper? I think is the interesting thing. I've said all along, I just don't see why you leave Brentford to sit on the bench at Arsenal. I think eventually he gets in the team. I just do. I don't think... Oh, there. Oh, win the dogs in there, people, as usual. You sign for Arsenal, you've got a stroke. Win the dog. This is like their new thing now, isn't it? I mean, as long as we do win. I don't want to call him lose the dog. David Raya. Yeah, pictures. I mean, number 22 shirt he wears. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know, pictures. Yeah, all good, mate. Are you good enough? Let's hope so. 12. Someone said, "Can we buy the rest of his nose?" People saying, I mean, let's have a look. I mean, to be fair, it's a dodgy nose. It's I mean, I mean, maybe you get the rest of the nose when he completes the deal. You know what I mean? Maybe it's an inverted nose, people. You know, who knows? Sorry, it's a dad joke. I couldn't help it. Yeah, that black away kit, goalkeeper kit is a banger. But yeah, people saying, can we buy the rest of his nose when he joins on a permanent? It's crazy. The comedy in here is outrageous. He's a former futsal player, apparently. His idol is Ilka Casillas. Yeah, listen, forget all that. Are you good? Do you take it to the next level? That's all I want to know. I'm not even here to talk about the nose. You know, as long as he's a good keeper, I don't care. I don't care what his nose looks like. Here's a funny looking nose, though. I can't lie. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Chronic's big song. If you know, you know. If not, then don't worry about it. Anyway, people. David Raya joins Arsenal Football Club on loan. It's finally completed. It's been like the worst kept secret. They've dragged and dragged and dragged it out. But the deal is done. The announcement video was decent, actually, for a loan. We've actually signed players for big money and not had an announcement video that good. So fair play. The Arsenal media team finally earning their wages. So it is what it is. Yeah. David Nosey. I mean, listen, I'm going to stop. Because if I ever meet him, it's going to look bad. You know, I've hammered people were talking about the nose and I've fallen into the trap. Samuel's coming back for me. He loves this. I knew it. Curtis already jealous of David Raya's hair. Samuel, hey, Baldy, relax yourself. Yeah, you better get yourself off to Turkey and sort that out. Cooper said, loving the Gabby background. He deserves it. What a player. Top player. Listen, I'm happy that David Raya has signed. I've got to be honest. On loan is a no-brainer. And listen, it puts real pressure on Aaron Ramsdale, and I think, yeah, they won't let me in a press conference again. Definitely not in this country, that's for sure. I think for the start, maybe they'll give him the cup games, and then they'll see how Ramsdale does. The first big mistake he makes, you probably get him in the team. But let's see what he does to Ramsdale. And it'll be interesting if we get him on a permanent deal or not. Excellent loan deal, though, I agree. To get him for £3 million for the season. Option to buy him for £27 million. It's a no-brainer. I was going to say it's a nose-brainer, but it doesn't make sense. I think we've ran with the nose joke too much. So we'll leave it. We'll come back to it at a later date, people. Anyway, holding green screen if we sell him. Possibly, you know, celebration. Sorry, see, look, I'm slandering players again. I have to calm down. But I can't help it. I got a wicked sense of humour. Maybe he has to lie. Maybe Pinocchio, you know. I've got to stop. See, I'm going down a slippery slope here. I want to be in another press conference at some stage. Anyway, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. David Raya has signed. I know it wasn't in the title of the video or anything like that. But, you know, they finally announced it, so I had to put that at the start of the stream. It's official, 1 year loan, £3 million, £27 million to make it permanent. Laporte said he will start Champions League matches. I think so as well. Going down, see, look, it's getting worse. We're going down slippery nose. I'm going to leave it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get into today's show. I'm taking you from up there, and maybe we are going to slip down the nose because the next story is definitely not a good one. I think the majority of you would have heard about it yesterday, of course. But we're going to talk about it in more detail now. And that is regarding Jurrien Timber. Arsenal defender Jurrien Timber has damaged his ACL and will be out for several months. I mean, honestly, it's one of the worst injuries you can get in football. In fact, I've heard people before saying genuinely a broken leg. You can recover from a broken leg potentially quicker than this, depending on the extent of the injury. It couldn't have been much worse. Let's just put it that way. It couldn't have been much worse. I was hoping maybe it may have been medial or something that could have been, 6, 7, 8 weeks. This is, it's Timber. Man down, Not the time for jokes, I suppose, at all. But Jurrien Timber's going to be out for several months, and this is shocking. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like, what is wrong with Arsenal Football Club and injuries. I don't understand it. I genuinely don't get it. How players come to Arsenal, they're injured. I mean, I'm looking at this guy's stats. Ajax last season, 38 games, he played 34. And the year before, he played 30. He comes to Arsenal 1 game injured. Could be out all season. How? Why? What is actually... This can't be coincidental. How we get so many injuries at this football club all the time. I don't know what's gone off with the medical team. Are these the same medical people that were there when Wenger was there? Are they the same ones that have... Are they new? I don't know. I know the club doctor went to Manchester United. But if these are the same people that have been there since Wenger, never mind signing new players. We might have to get new physios and new doctors in. Genuinely may have to look at that, because this is not a coincidence. Jack Wilshere constantly injured. Diaby was injured. Cazorla was injured. Danny Welbeck was injured. Player after player after player. Injured. Consistently injured. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I've obviously been involved in football a long time. I've been around players who've had ACL injuries. If it's a small tear to the ACL, you're looking anywhere from 6 to 9 months for full recovery back on the football pitch. 6 being a very quick turnaround. More than likely, you're looking at 8-9 months for a recovery. If it's a rupture, a complete tear, you're looking at 9 to 12 months. Now, they have not announced the full extent of the damage yet. He's having further tests. Best case scenario, and I mean very best, you're looking 6 months. So we're in August now. You're looking, what, September, October, November, December, January, middle of January, and that is like the very best. In reality, probably 9, so you'd be looking February, March, maybe April. Then you've got to get match fit. Season ends in May. It's pretty much season over. Unless, you know, you get best case scenario and you get him back in 6. If it was a small tier, maybe you get him back end of January, get him fit by the middle to end of Feb. It could be a season-ending injury. Which is shocking. Which is absolutely shocking for a guy that's never had a major injury in his career. He plays 1 game at Arsenal. Now, I know a lot of people are going for the doctors and hammering them online, saying, why was he allowed to play the second half after going down injured in the first half? What they're saying is the impact injury he sustained was on the other knee. They believed he was all right. He then comes out and injures the opposite knee. But you just don't know. Sometimes, you know, that the lack of balance in the knee that you've sustained the injury on in the first half could have caused the injury to the other knee. I don't know. It's too hard to say. But we've got a major problem on our hands here. I'm actually really annoyed and disappointed with this. Because I'm sitting here at the moment. Number one, I'm gutted for him. What a signing. We've all been saying what a bargain this guy is. Kamal's saying maybe we shouldn't do preseason in America, just stay in Europe. I know when I was over there in America, a lot of people were complaining about the state of the pitches, because notably you're playing on some pitches that are American football stadiums. So they're having to relay the pitch to enable us to play football in America, soccer on the pitch. And for example, the SoFi Stadium, which amazing ground, one of the best grounds I've ever seen, the pitch was poor. The one in New York, New Jersey, the pitch was poor, you know. But listen, the reality is he got injured here, so I don't know. It's a real shame. It's a real shame. Gunnar Gregg said they're lying. It was the same knee. I mean, they're saying it wasn't, but I can't question it. Latte said it's crazy. Medical staff, training pitch, training, etc. Something is not right. It's not. Like I said, people within football say that the Arsenal training grounds are harder than most pitches in the Premier League. I know they said that this was something that Arsenal had addressed a few years back, but it seems so coincidental, or too coincidental. Adam said he tore his ACL a couple of years back. It was the same. Injured my right leg, carried on, tore my left. There you go. There could have been an imbalance caused by that injury in the first half that led to that injury. Were people not doing their job properly? You know, he looked at half time, the way he came off that pitch, as if he shouldn't have come back on. I was surprised to see him come back out. in SoFi Stadium. The pitch was changed 24 hours before the game. Should we have taken him off at half time? I know it's easy to say once it happens, but it is what it is. Listen, my issue at the moment is, what do we do? What do we do now to sort this situation out? All of a sudden, the squad depth at the back doesn't look as strong. Hendon Guna said the Arsenal training ground was built on a brownfield site. The training pitches are firm because of the underlying ground, which was an industrial site. There you go. Thank you for that info. Fire the physio who allowed him back. I suppose they can't prove he was in the wrong, so they can't fire him. DJ Ash, you never see Man City players getting injuries like this. We never get injuries of a couple of weeks. It's a madness. Always months. Zinni hasn't been seen since April with a groin strain. Trust me, bro, there's something not right within the whole Arsenal system that is causing these injuries. It's insane. It's insane. It really is. Is he going to be the same player once he comes back? Some players come back from ACL injuries. They're the same. Some players, they are not. Dre said definitely an imbalance. He said he tore his ACL in 2013. It takes its toll on your other knee due to compensation. It's very easy to say in hindsight. But I have to say, and I'm saying it, should he have been taken off at half time? He injures one knee. He was obviously in pain. He comes back out and then does his ACL. But listen, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can't say it. Just looking at it now, it's frustrating because you feel like, could that have been avoided, or was it just pure coincidence? I don't know. Very, very, very bad and sad news. First of all, get well soon to Yuri and Timber. I mean, could actually make him miss the Euros next summer as well. But just so frustrating as an Arsenal fan. So frustrating. Because I'm looking at it like this, people, in reality. If you look at the outfield signings this summer that we've made, I'm not going to include David Raya, the goalkeeper, because he's on loan. We've spent £210 million. You look at it, at the moment, Timber could be out all season. Declan Rice, I think, is a very, very good signing who improves us. And at the moment, let's just keep it 100. There is massive question marks over Kai Havertz. So at the moment, you're sitting there going, 210 million, the defensive squad depth we've just lost. Kai Havertz, we're not sure how much he improves us at the moment. And you've signed Declan Rice, who I would say is an improvement on Granit Xhaka, but obviously in that more attacking role, it's going to take some time. So in reality, it doesn't feel like we've improved our team and squad that much, despite the fact we've spent £210 million. In reality, we're Declan Rice better than we were last season. And we've spent 210 million. So all of a sudden, we're now in a situation where, and we're going to talk about it today, we're being linked with defenders again. I wouldn't imagine there's that much money left in the Arsenal kitty. So whatever was left, maybe we were going to go for an attacking player, but now you're going to have to go and buy a defender just to compensate for the fact that Timber's going to be out for at least 6 months. So listen, I'm delighted that we're spending money. I am, and we've spent big money, but for the amount of money we've spent, it just feels like we haven't significantly improved the squad due to the fact Timber could be out all season and Havertz is still like a pick and mix. We don't know what's going to turn up. Declan Rice, obviously a quality player, but like I said, even he's going to take time to adjust if you're trying to get him to play in that Granit Xhaka role eventually. So I'm in a situation now where I'm just like, wow, we've spent all that money and not that much has changed. It's crazy, but we'll have to see. Let's hope it figure itself out and we go into the market. Get well soon, Timber. Get someone on loan. To get someone quality on loan won't be easy. We needed a right winger and a striker, said Assassin. Shambles. Crazy that we haven't addressed those situations. Arteta will probably justify it by saying Nelson can cover Saka on the right, even though I think he's better on the left. And he will say Havertz, Eddie, Trossard can cover Jesus. But as I said yesterday, Havertz is not a natural striker. Trossard isn't a natural striker. And Eddie Nketiah is not a prolific striker. So, listen, it's an interesting situation and one we're going to have to cope with. Let me just read these super chats before we move on. Big up Black, nice background. Martinelli, he deserves his props. What a player. I said many times, I think he is a future superstar, Martinelli, and I stick by it. Jorge said, we need to sign somebody else 6 months out. Just like we didn't sign him at all. Foolish to let him come back out after laying on the ground. Big up to you, bro. Hamdu said the holding must play curse has taken Timber out. Yeah, somehow he'll end up back in the team and we won't sell him. Bleck said we chopped down the timber. Yeah, man, it's, the trees mash up right now. Simon said our training pitches are next door to Watford's. Do they have the same problem? I mean, not that I know of, but then I don't know much about Watford's injury situation, to be honest. But big up to Simon Paul. Big up 90-minute footy, who said Arteta, I bet, was stubborn too. He did the same with Partey against Spurs. Man injured. He pushed him on the field to continue playing. I don't want to assume, but you never know. Yeah, I mean, listen, unless we know, it's difficult for us to say. Should that doctor have allowed Timber to come back on at half-time, that injury to the other leg may have led to the imbalance in the leg that he's injured. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It's ifs, buts and maybes. And all we can do is deal with the reality that Jurrien Timber will be out for at least 6 months, potentially 12 months, depending on the extent of the injury. I mean, all we can do is absolutely hope for the very best that it's 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months. Raven said, Curtis, have you ever injured your knee during your career? I mean, touch wood, I was lucky. The most I ever did was my medial knee injury, which is the inside of your knee. It was an impact injury, and I was out for about 6 weeks. So, fortunately, I've never had a major knee injury. And, they are one of the worst injuries you can sustain in football. They really are. So, I just hope he recovers. As I said, for anyone just tuning in, over 2,000 of you locked in. We did quickly speak about the fact that David Raya is now confirmed, signed, sealed, and delivered. He is an Arsenal player. I did speak about it at the start of the show. As I went live, it was breaking news. So I didn't want to repeat it again, but he's joined on loan for the season, £3 million, option to buy for 27 million at the end of the season. So big up to everyone just tuned in. Make sure you like the video. Big up all the Twitch gang as well. The whole C unit locked in. Big up yourself. Alberto said very worried about the club right now. It's crazy, isn't it? We finished second, which was painful because we feel we should have won it, but also there was optimism. And said breaking, win the dog has got worms. Wouldn't surprise me. He's walked on the training ground. He's probably injured. We finished second. We spent 200 million. But we're also, I wouldn't say we're down. We're not down. Things are still good for us. But you're sitting there going, Gabriel Jesus has another knee injury. Not a major one, but an injury to the injury that he had last season. That's a worry. That's a concern. You've then your new signing in defence, who's been our best signing in pre-season, one game in, gets injured, potentially season-ending injury. So you're like, wow, it's like one step forward, 2 steps back. But the club are going to have to deal with it. So let's move on. Dinesh, what is your opinion on Caicedo and Lavia to Chelsea? First of all, well done. I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans and fans of other clubs, we've all got the same feeling. We don't want to see potential rivals signing quality players. I said in January, and I got a lot of criticism for it online, naturally, on Twitter. I said Arsenal made a big mistake not breaking the bank for Caicedo in January. I said that Jorginho was not the signing we needed. And the general response that I got was we offered 70 million. What I said, well, we should have paid 80. We should have paid 90. He's that good. He is an incredible midfielder, in my opinion. I don't think he's worth 115 million, but all of a sudden, imagine paying 90 million for him last January. That could have won us the title. This guy now has gone for 25 million pound more. And I think he's a game changer. And Lavia is a very good young player. So they've gone from Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante to Enzo, Caicedo and Lavia. How they're getting around it financially, I don't know. But they're very good at selling players. Havertz, Mount, they've sold a number of players, so can't hate on it. I think in Caicedo, they've signed a game changer. I honestly do. I think he's that good. But we'll see. We'll see. Dash Cash, big up Big C. The moment Timber went down, I knew it was ACL, heartbreaking. What do you think of us possibly going all out for Barella and Chukwueze? I've said many times I would love Barella at Arsenal. I think he's a top quality player. I still think we need a centre midfielder. I said last season, Arsenal need a midfielder. We sold Xhaka and bought Declan Rice. One in, one out. I still think we need a midfielder. Rice and Partey, that's your two. One comes out, Jorginho comes in. Two come out, El Neni comes in. That is not good enough unless you move Zinchenko into midfield. So I think we still need a centre midfielder. But we're going to have to spend our money on defenders. So let's see. I just wanted to say quickly before we moved on, a few Man United fans in the chat. How bad were Manchester United last night? I know Man United fans will cling to the positive. They won the game. And that's the most important thing. But, I mean, how on earth did Onana get away with not conceding a penalty at the end? I mean, I put up a gif of Street Fighter, of Ryu putting an uppercut on Ken and said, you know, Onana basically did this and a penalty wasn't given. Unbelievable. Said many times, Premier League, most exciting league in the world. No doubt about it. It's super exciting. We got the money, we got the TV deals, they got everything. The one thing they don't have in the Premier League is referees. The referees in the Premier League are some of the worst in European football. They are a shambles. The referee turned down the opportunity to go and look at the screen because his ego wouldn't allow him to do it. Oh no, I've given the right decision. Let me ignore the fact that there's a 50-inch screen over here. I can go and look at it and confirm my decision. Because it's at Old Trafford, I'll just stick by my decision. Absolutely shambolic. Shambolic. And I don't like to blame refs. Say it all the time. I'm not a big fan of blaming refs. But that was outrageous. Wolves, I actually predicted them to potentially get relegated. They were absolutely brilliant last night. But the thing is, they can't finish. You know, how many chances do you want to miss? They were absolutely awful in front of goal. They should have scored 2 or 3 goals yesterday. But how the referee didn't give a penalty for that is just an absolute disgrace. If that happened against Arsenal, I think the laptop would have flown out the window. It was shocking, but it is what it is. You expect it at Old Trafford. Ferguson's there. You know, we've seen it for years, unfortunately. But yeah, Wolves were excellent. It was an exciting game. I would have been delighted if United would have drawn that game. But hey, we moved people. So, problems require solutions. Timber, 6 to 9 months. Big up my bro Akeem in the chat, by the way, as well. Problems require solutions. We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. We've got to go and get somebody, in my opinion. And we've got to figure out a way around this. Now, Arsenal are being linked today with another Manchester City player. We seem to love Man City players at the moment. Arsenal are firm admirers of Manchester City's Aymeric Laporte, who has been told that he can leave the Etihad Stadium this month at the right price. It's believed Man City want between 40 and 45 million pound for the Spanish international. But it does go on to say the Premier League champions Man City are reluctant to do further business with the Gunners. So we could be in a situation here. According to reports, interest in Aymeric Laporte has been minimal this summer. No firm offer has been made for him yet. Do we get into a situation where Manchester City have got a player they want to sell? We're at the door saying we'll take him and they let him go. Now, Aymeric Laporte only has a year left on his contract. And Pep has said before, he is not willing to allow players to run down their contract. What you're supposed to do when it's good business. Now, Aymeric Laporte earns £120,000 a week, which is not outrageously, you know, big for Arsenal. Arsenal can definitely pay that. He is 29 years of age. He turned 29 in May. So by the end of the season, he'll be turning 30. I think we all, you know, we don't need to talk about him too much. We've all seen him play. Left-footed, very good on the ball. would suit the Arsenal style of football, can play left back, can play centre back. Does have some injury concerns though. Over the past couple of years, has not played a whole heap of football. He's been at Manchester City since 2017. He's only had 2 seasons where he's played more than 30 league games. 2018-19, he played 35. 21-22, he played 33. And last season, he wasn't first choice, so we can put that down to the fact Diaz and Stones were ahead of him. But the 2019 season, he only played 15 games, and the 2020 season, he only played 16 games. So you're talking about an injury-prone centre-back. If you're looking at pure ability, I like Laporte. I think Laporte would fit in at Arsenal. But that injury record, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm caught up at the moment, you know. But this Timber injury, I do not want an injury-prone player. I don't want him. I'm going to be totally honest, people. If you're talking about his talent, I would take him all day long. That injury record, keep him away. Not interested. I don't care how good you are. If you're injury prone, I don't want you. Right? We've got no luck when it comes to injuries. So spending 40 million and giving 120 grand to an injury prone player makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense. I've always liked him as an actual player. I think his style would really suit us. But what's the point trying to train on our car park of a training ground? His knee's going to be mashed up within 2 weeks. So there's no point for me. No point. If you could get him on loan, but they're not going to loan him because he's got a year left. They're going to get him out on a permanent. So it's not going to happen, in my opinion. Listen, when I say it's not going to happen, Man City might allow it to happen closer to the end of the window, because the reality is, his deal's up in a year. If you can get 30, 40 million out of Arsenal, you're probably silly to say no to that deal if you're Manchester City, you know, and they know he's injury prone as well. So I'm not so sure that I don't think it's impossible for him to end up at Arsenal, because if there's a week to go in the window and City don't have a good offer for him, and Arsenal turn up with 30, 40 million, you know, you'd think they would be tempted to sell him. So don't be surprised if Laporte ends up at Arsenal. And I like him as a player, as I've said, but so injury prone. This is an interesting one. MXN said, I'd take Sergio Ramos on a free. He could be our Thiago Silva cost-effective option. I mean, you know what? That is a really left field option that I've never thought about. Sergio Ramos is out of contract. He's an unbelievable leader. He's an icon of the game. I don't know what level he's at. I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch that much PSG last year. I know he was injured a lot as well. So I don't know what sort of level he's playing at. You know, I know that Thiago Silva is like in his late 30s and he's still playing like an absolute Rolls Royce. It's a tough one on Ramos. I don't really know where he's at as a player anymore. Yeah, we know he's a bit of a red card merchant, but on a free, on a short term, I mean, people saying he was terrible at PSG, looked washed, injury prone, red cards. Yeah, so maybe he's done. Maybe he's done. I don't know. At Madrid, a year before, I'd have probably took him on a free. Yeah, Khalid said it as well. Look there, yeah, apparently we were interested in him when he left Real Madrid. But he went to PSG. Heard we wanted to sign Ramos when he left Madrid. But a lot of people saying he's pretty poor now. So, Laporte, let's get a first poll up of the day. Let's get some interaction in the chat. Would you take Aymeric Laporte? Would you sign Laporte? I mean, the crazy thing is, there's a saying, isn't there, people? Beggars can't be choosers. I wouldn't sign Laporte because of the injury record. But if you said to me, I'll give you Aymeric Laporte or you don't sign no one, I'd probably sign Laporte. Do you know? And that's the crazy thing about football, isn't it? Because if he did come in and didn't get injured, you've got a good player, but he wouldn't be my first option. He's 29 and injury prone. That doesn't hype me at all. They're not going to loan him, Neil, because he's got a year left. If you loan him, he's out of contract next summer. They get no money for him. They're going to want to sell him on a permanent basis, and they're going to try and get good money for him. So, big up Tony Claude, Gunner TV. Hope you're well. Rowan said, too much risk, stay away. Time to hit up Chelsea for one of their rejects. Well, it's what we usually do, isn't it? Fresneda is the one. I mean, a right back, but then it gives you a bit of flexibility because Ben White can go centre back. So we'll leave that Laporte poll up. Let me know what you think, people. Man City want £40 million for him. Mamadou said Cunha or Eddie. I mean, Cunha yesterday played outstanding. He doesn't have a good goal record, though. But, yeah, I like Cunha. I actually was interested when Arsenal were looking at him. I thought he was a bit of a bargain. But his goal record's not great. I wouldn't say he's an out-and-out striker. Garbo said, Big C, if that was Ramsdale, it would have been a pen and a red card, no question. I agree. Would have been a penalty, that's for sure. Big up Garbo. Gunnarola said, Elise going for 35 million when we need a right winger is crazy. Being linked with Man City and Chelsea. Chelsea are buying everyone at the moment. He's injured at the moment, but Arsenal don't seem to have any interest in wingers or strikers. I don't know why. Make it make sense, people. Simon said the problem is not many clubs can pay 45 million and pay high wages. If they want to sell, we might be the only option. And that's the thing. It might end up in both clubs' hands by the end of the transfer window. If a club can't pay that and the wages, we might get Laporte for maybe 25 million, right? Which Arsenal would probably do that deal, I think, personally. And they would have to sell him at a reduced price rather than risking keeping him. And he goes for free. So it wouldn't surprise me if Laporte ended up at Arsenal. Big up Jashar, 28 months as a member. Big up Curtis, Laporte swap deal for Holding. Make it happen, Edu. I mean, you'd need a magician to do that one, I can't lie. Todd B is like a Bond villain. He don't mess about. He does not mess about. Right, part 2 of the Manchester City raid, people, is Arsenal are also interested in this man, Cancelo. Now, the reason I didn't speak about Cancelo in great detail is because this deal looks as if it's not going to happen. Reports coming out of Spain in the last 2 hours. There's a report here. João Cancelo is on the verge of joining Barcelona on a season-long loan. Just some negotiations over the obligation price at the end of the season. Manchester City want a guaranteed 45 million for Cancelo. Barcelona willing to pay 30 million. Believe they will meet somewhere in the middle and Cancelo will join Barcelona. There is genuine interest from Arsenal, although it's believed the deal is too far advanced and he is very interested in joining Barcelona. That is coming out of Spain. So, this is why I'm not speaking about it too much. Cancelo would be a great option, but it looks as if he's on his way to Barcelona. So it's really not, there's not much point me getting too deep into the story or putting up a poll. I would have gone for Cancelo over Laporte. Cancelo can play right back, he can play left back. That frees up Ben White to play at centre back. It gives us options. It's not going to happen. City don't want to do business with us. The deal is advanced with Barcelona. There's no point talking about it. Champa said, as a Barca fan, I'm so shocked we can sign players. I mean, again, they're getting them on loan with an obligation. It gives them 12 months. They've got Klarna and layaway deals all over the place at Barcelona, but that's their problem. Cancelo culture, I like that one. That's a good dad joke. I would have done that. He said Ramos and Gabriel at the back is Bozo Jeans squared. Oh, well, they'll probably headbutt each other, to be honest. Although we're going to speak about Gabriel shortly. He may not be an Arsenal player next season. Edmund Tapsoba said Assassin. Yeah, a number of clubs have been linked with him. Todibo, I think, is it? Who Man United were linked with as well. Kivior can do a job at left back. I worry about that. I worry. There's some good right wingers in the Prem. Elise, Salah. I don't think Kivior would be amazing at left back. I think left centre back, maybe there's a future talent there. At left back concerns me. Big, tall centre back at left back can be got at by good wingers, you know, fast wingers as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure I would want to see that. Big up Robbie with the super chat. The young Irish striker at Brighton, Ferguson, there's going to be a bidding war for him in the next window. Watch this space, he's 18. It's the next one, isn't it? Another one. DJ Khaled. That's the next one. They'll probably get 100 million for him next summer. They are the ultimate selling machine, Brighton. And Ferguson will be the next one. There's no doubt about it. Mamadou said we need Pavard. I mean, I've never been a fan of Pavard. But it seems he's cheap and he's available. Man United being linked with him. I think they want like 25 million for him. So, potential, can play right back, can play centre back. I've never really rated him, but... let me end the poll. Let's end the first poll. Nice and quick. Would you take Aymeric Laporte at Arsenal? And this is a first. The poll is completely split down the middle, 50-50. Been a long time. You said you miss me. What? I'm 50-50. Lamar, if you're old school, you know. If not, you've probably never heard of it. I can't help it. But it's 50-50, people, on Laporte. So some of you would take him. Some of you wouldn't. Alvincible said Pavard is a good player. Pavard is more of a right-back, centre-back, not a left-back. How about Walker Peters of Southampton? Yeah, not the biggest fan. That was a big tune, man. Some of you know about it, man. Big boy tune. Yeah, Lamar business, man. Anyway, let's move on. Manchester City raid. I think Laporte, towards the end of this window, I think City would potentially do business with us. Minimal interest. Year left on his contract. Player wants out. Euros in the summer. He's been told already he needs regular first-team football to get into that Spanish team. I think that Laporte could be gettable in the next couple of weeks and at a cheaper price than that 40 million. Unfortunately, Cancelo, I think he'll be a Barcelona player in the next few days. So I think we have missed out on that one, people. Anyway, let's move on. Some of you actually don't want Laporte, so you don't even want the deal to happen. Now, a story that has come complete left field last night. I did not see this one coming. It has come out of nowhere. And that is Gabriel Maghales, people, being linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, which I think is bad news. I'm going to be totally honest. Gabriel Maghales is being lined up for a move to Saudi Arabia. Arsenal currently have no plans to sell the player, despite his starting 11 omission against Forest. That is Ryan Taylor, who writes for The Express. It's Al Ittihad, which is the team that I believe Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante play for. Now, the bad thing about this, they are one of the government-funded teams in Saudi Arabia. So they have got an absolute mega bucket of cash that they can throw, first of all, at Arsenal, and second of all, at Gabriel. Why was he not in the team on Saturday? Is that linked to the fact that he was negotiating with this Saudi club? Is it purely coincidental and he wanted to line us up different? I don't know. I want to ask the question. I like Gabriel. He does have the bozo gene at times, but I think football and defences in particular are built on partnerships. They're built on partnerships, and I think he has a good partnership with William Saliba. He did an interview last week where he was saying that him and Saliba, they knew each other obviously from playing in France before they came here. Is there a number? What I want to ask in the community, I think most Arsenal fans would say keep him because of his partnership with Saliba, because of the fact he's still mid-20s, he's a left-sided centre-back. We've just lost Timber. I mean, South London's Finest said, unpopular opinion, I think Gabriel is very replaceable. The problem you've got is there's 2 weeks left of the window, and you don't want to create problems that aren't necessary. You know, you just don't do that. What is the number? I mean, Dino said there's always a number, and you know what I'm referring to, because I've probably got a number. My initial thought is Gabriel, keep him, 100%. Don't let him go. Mid-20s, left-footed, Brazilian, good partnership with Saliba. No point creating a problem. But the reality is, if the Saudis turn up with a particular number, we're packing his suitcase. What would your number be? I mean, Patrick said Gabriel is unsellable. I actually don't think he is unsellable. I wouldn't sell him. Let me make it clear. I wouldn't sell him. But if you get to crazy numbers, then there is a conversation to be had. And what would those numbers be in your mind? I mean, Nicky also says, don't sell him at any cost. Declan says 90. Smokey says 60. I think that's too low. Flip Mode says 70. Noni said 80. A few of you saying 100 million. Eros says 200 million. I mean, you're not going to get that. I think you could get them up at 70, 80, 90 million, depending on how much they really want him. Raul said 70 million. Social says 90. Guna Motley said 100 million and you can have him. Bleck says 200. Mr. Gamer says 90 million plus. The problem you've got as well, and what you always have to think about, is what can you do with the money that you get? You know, for 60 million, you're struggling to replace him, in my opinion, because players are massively overpriced now. 80 million plus Rob Holding. Just take Rob Holding at any price. Curtis, going to Saudi surely costs the player his international career. Some countries, I think, would see it like that, but some maybe not. You know, Oscar was still getting picked for Brazil when he was playing in China. LSU, I hear you. He said, you can't sell Gabriel with Timber gone for the season. You can't let anyone go. Zinni is out, an injury-prone, unproven Kiwi. Kieran Tierney has to stay. Don't care how much the Saudis bring. Dre said, sell him, then go get Osimhen. Well, if only, man. But listen, let me get one thing clear. Unless they break the bank, the Saudis, I don't think he goes anywhere. And OGD makes a great point. Notably, they are not going overly crazy with the transfer fees. It's more the wages. They paid 100 million euros for Neymar, but he's an absolute superstar and a shirt seller. And they offered crazy money for Mbappe, over 200. But Mbappe's Mbappe. I think they maybe offer 50, 60 million. I think Arsenal will reject it. And I just don't think we can afford to even think about selling him. But I just wonder, isn't it interesting? He gets dropped on Saturday, and by Tuesday he's being linked with a move to Saudi Arabia. Coincidental? I don't know. Why don't the Saudis want Rob Holding? Listen, they can have him for a sandwich. We don't even need cash. I'll take Monopoly money, but no, let me calm down again. I can't help it. It's a coping mechanism. You know, information and entertainment. Anyway, I don't think Gabriel will go unless the Saudis turn up with big money. Obviously, we spoke about a few things. For everyone just tuning in, 2.5K in the chat. David Ray has been announced. We've spoken about Timber. Obviously being out for at least 6 months to a year. Hopefully the 6 months, not the 1 year. We've also just spoke about Saudi club being linked with Gabriel. Personally, I think we got too many problems to deal with at the moment. Selling Gabriel just further adds to them. So I would be very... Oh, wow, we got some breaking news. I would be very reluctant to let Gabriel go unless they turn up with a ridiculous amount of money. Now, we got some breaking news. It regards Manchester City, who I would still like to think we're rivals with, but we're going to have to play a lot better than we played on Saturday. So this is the breaking news, people, regarding Manchester City. Breaking news, after Monday's scan, Manchester City want Kevin De Bruyne to undergo surgery on his hamstring injury to avoid a recurrence. The estimated time to keep him out will be early 2024. No final decision has been made yet. This is breaking, and it's believed Manchester City want Kevin De Bruyne to have an operation on the hamstring injury. It's a recurring injury. He got it at the end of the season. He's got it in the first game. This would keep him out till, you're assuming, at least January. I think that is big news. I've always said it. I think Kevin De Bruyne is Manchester City's best player. I always say, listen, I don't wish injury on any player. Injury is serious, and it is, you know, footballers, you've earned the right to play, so play. But the reality is I want Arsenal to win things. You get Kevin De Bruyne out, you just potentially need a Haaland, and maybe we've got an opportunity of putting pressure on them. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Let's keep it a $1.50 here, people. De Bruyne out, we could do with the robot malfunctioning now. That's huge. That's huge. That's a big loss for them. He is their best player. He is their best player. I've said it before. Listen, Haaland is the finisher. He scores, but De Bruyne is the creator. He's the instrumental one. I think he's the captain now as well. But that is massive news. Kevin De Bruyne set to be out until early 2024, likely to undergo an operation on his hamstring injury. So it's big. It's big news. But we've lost Timber. So yeah, they have still got the robot up front who we're gonna have we're going to have to stop him somehow as well, people. Anyway, let's move on. Let's focus on Arsenal. What does Jurrien Timber, what does his injury mean for Kieran Tierney, a.k.a. the Tesco bag? Now, he is being linked again with moves to Newcastle, to Real Sociedad. Reports coming out today that West Ham are interested in Kieran Tierney as well. Clubs want Tierney. 3 clubs now looking at Kieran Tierney. The problem is Sociedad, Newcastle, they want him on loan. I don't know why. Sociedad potentially can't afford a high transfer fee and a high wage. Newcastle, financial fair play. I don't think they can spend too much. Bag for life. That's what we need, a bag for life. For me, Timber's injury now, I mean, do you then keep him? But I think they're going to get rid of him because they're going to look at it and say, Zinchenko at left back, Kivior as cover, sell Tierney. But I'm now concerned because I'm looking at it going, Timber out for 6 months. Zinchenko's good, but he's injury prone. Then you're playing Kivior at left back. I said it before and I said it again. I'm not trying to go to the Bernabeu, to the Allianz Arena, to the Nou Camp, although it's not the Nou Camp this year. I think they're actually doing that stadium. I don't want to see Kivior at left back against Rodrigo in the Bernabeu. I don't want to see that, right? I want a certified... I said it yesterday. I want... If the pipes burst, I want a plumber to turn up. I don't want a carpet fitter, an inverted plumber to do it. I think Kieran Tierney should stay. I think he should stay. I want a certified left back to go and challenge Zinchenko. That's our 2 left back options. I'm going to be honest. I don't rate Tomiyasu at left back. I don't rate him. I think he looks uncomfortable at left back. I would say Tierney and Zinchenko as your left backs. You've then got Gabriel, Saliba, Kivior, and Ben White as your centre backs. Ben White is your right back, but he's also cover at centre back. I would not let Kieran Tierney go. I think he's now becomes your second choice left back. Nobody can tell me that Tomiyasu or Kivior are better left backs than Kieran Tierney. They are not. And people say Nuno Tavares in the chat. We don't even want to consider that one. So, but I think he's going to go. I think Tierney's still going to leave. I got to be honest. Tomiyasu's injury prone. He's playing in the Asia Cup in January, so he's going to be away for some games. And I don't think he's very good at left back. He's decent at right back. I don't rate him at left back. We get into a few of your super chats. Mamadou said we need Pavard from Bayern. Not a big fan of him, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers and he's cheap. A said Gab's benched because he ain't dynamic for the system, maybe. It's interesting, isn't it? Last summer, we were looking to get Lisandro Martinez for big money who went to United. Were they looking to replace Gabriel then? I don't know. Simon said the Saudis are crazy. Wasn't linked before. Omitted on bench one game. Sorry. Then they think they can get him contracted till 2027. Zero hope. Money talks, man. They put a big bag of money on the table. You got to remember, Arsenal's record sale is £40 million. It's not huge money. If the Saudis offered 70 million for Gabriel, I'm telling you now, they would have a serious question. I'm not saying I'd sell him for that, but the club would consider it. I'm telling you that, you know, we haven't sold many players for big money, but I would keep Kieran Tierney. I genuinely would keep him. Saudis pay big money, pay big pay, but they haven't paid big transfer fees. My number is 70 million minimum, says Simon. Simon also says, should do a rare deal to help Newcastle, but to get a good price. He's Arteta's 4th choice, so we need to sell in terms of, the loan with an option to buy. I just think if you're loaning Tierney, it should be an obligation to buy rather than an option, because a club can just use him for 12 months and send him back. And then we're in the same situation. We're trying to sell him next summer. So if anyone's taking Tierney on loan, I think there has to be an obligation. Sakin said Arsenal would 100% sell Gabriel at the right price. What happened to Nuno Tavares? I mean, he's training at Arsenal, but still hasn't been sold. Unfortunately, he's a player that we do need to get rid of. And there's a number of players that we still need to get rid of. We still have Nuno Tavares. We still have Sambi Lokonga. We still got Nicolas Pepe at the club. Cedric. These guys are still at the club, training every day, picking up wages, and probably hampering our ability to go and strengthen. So very interesting. Very interesting. We're going to need to sell. Players need to be sold. And very interesting that Inaki Kana, I hope I haven't butchered his name there, but the Arsenal goalkeeper coach basically was the coach at Brentford when David Raya was there before he left, came to Arsenal. Now, David Raya has said, on being reunited with Inaki Kana, he's a very demanding but a very good goalie coach. He's always on to you. He wants the very best. In the space of 6 months, he changed my vision in the way I played at Blackburn and how I played at Brentford. He was the first one to change my mindset. It's also worth noting, Arsenal tried to sign David Raya before signing Aaron Ramsdale, and they've now got him a year later on loan. This is why I'm saying, and I'm not, trying to convince anyone of this, I believe that David Raya will end up being the Arsenal #1 goalkeeper, because I just don't believe that you can maintain two #1 goalkeepers. I mean, Harlech says it here, I've never heard of any club with two #1s. It's quite simple. Any club that has two #1 goalkeepers, one of them will move away within the space of probably one season, because you can't afford to do it. The Euros is at the end of the season. Ramsdale wants to put pressure on Pickford, and Raya will want to be the Spanish #1 if possible. You can't afford to be rotated as a keeper. The manager has tried to buy him twice. He's got him now. He's Spanish. The goalkeeper coach has worked with him. But Ramsdale's going to have to be on top of his game now. It puts a lot of pressure on him. But let's see what happens with that one. Big up I Am King for becoming a member. Member stream will definitely be this week. Bear with me, people. My apologies. It was supposed to be last Thursday, but I went away for a couple of days. We will definitely do it this week. Arsenal don't actually play this weekend, so maybe we'll do a weekend member stream. Arsenal play on Monday away at Crystal Palace, people. And just before we round up the show, pretty much done for today. Obviously, David Raya has been announced. There's some stats of Raya and Ramsdale, and two very good goalkeepers, two goalkeepers who both played every league game last season, no injuries, no suspensions. Ramsdale conceded 43, David Raya conceded 46, 14 clean sheets for Ramsdale, 12 for Raya. I mean, you would expect, that's very good numbers, really, considering Raya plays for a worse team. Save percentage, 69% for Ramsdale, 77% for Raya. So Raya is making more saves than Ramsdale. Passing accuracy, 63% Ramsdale, 61% Raya. That's an interesting one. Errors leading to goals, 2 for Ramsdale, 1 for Raya. But we did see on another stat the other week, Raya was #1 for most saves in the Premier League last season, most forward passers, and all sorts of other stats. So he's definitely a very good keeper. How do you maintain those two goalkeepers for the rest of the season? I think by the end of the season, one of those two is going to be saying, Raya will either be saying, I don't want to sign, or Ramsdale will be saying, get me out of here. One of the two. So we'll have to see. Somebody just put breaking news, and it is more breaking news surrounding Chelsea. This machine just will not stop spending money. Chelsea have activated the release clause of Crystal Palace right winger Michael Olise. £35 million. I mean, listen, I know the guy is injured. We've needed a right winger the whole damn transfer window. £35 million release clause is peanuts in the modern game. Absolute peanuts. Chelsea have got him. FFP, they might as well scrap it. It's pathetic. And in the space of 2 days, they have signed Caicedo. They're going to get Lavia, and they're going to get Olise. If you look at Chelsea, they're signing a number of players below 25. They're trying to get a group that can grow together. That is a frustrating deal for me, because 35 million for a guy that 21, lot of potential, could have probably been a good backup for Saka. And I remember Patrick Vieira saying in an interview that Arsenal should have been looking at him, but of course they're not. So Chelsea are spending more money, people. £35 million release clause of Michael Elise. Will they challenge for the title? I still think they're a striker short, to be honest, but they're definitely improving quickly. Will we go for Kudus? Who knows? He looks like he could be on his way to West Ham, people. Arsenal have spent 210 million. I think they need to spend some more money. Well, I think we need a defender to make up for what has happened with Timber. Still would like a midfielder. Still would like a striker. And I would still like a right winger. It's not going to happen, but I would at least like one or two of those positions to be dealt with before the transfer window closes. It's clear that FFP is a myth. Big up to everyone tuning in. Thank you very much for a great stream. African Giant. Here he is. He's just put the phone emoji with the... Yeah, I know. Todd Bowley, man, that guy is ruthless. Seriously. He is like a bad guy in James Bond. And Dre said I'd still like a new manager. Dre, don't get me started. I'm trying to behave it. Anyway, people, thank you very much. It is a big season for the manager. He's got to put some silverware in that cabinet this year. No excuses. 4 years, 200 million spent this summer. I want trophies. Big up to everyone tuned in. Really appreciate it. We will be back on tomorrow. This weekend, obviously, Arsenal are not playing. So just to give you a plan, just so you can plan ahead. Obviously, we'll be doing a watch-along on Monday. Crystal Palace against Arsenal. I will do Saturday night football streams. So it's Tottenham Man United at 5:30 and Manchester City against Newcastle at 8. I'll definitely do Tottenham Man United. I may even do both games. We'll see how it goes. But we'll do a Saturday night. At least one stream, maybe a double. We'll do a member stream over the weekend as well. But we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much for tuning in. David Raya has signed. Timber is out potentially all season. We need new signings, people. Bless.